Do it.
Nerdrotic.com.
Greetings, friends, and welcome to the Nerdrotic Nooner. My name is Gary Beekler, and I come to you live from lockdown San Francisco, where our bedtime is 8 p.m. Pacific, with no bedtime story from Mayor London Breed. And if we don't have our lights out by 8:30, there will be no cereal and cartoons in the morning. Yes, I borrowed that from Zach. TM Zach, your boy Zach. What's up, everybody? So, as people roll in, this is, of course, the Nerdrotic Nooner. And I was going back and forth on how the hell I'm going to approach this show today. And I still haven't decided. So we're just going to roll with it, aren't we? We are most definitely going to talk about the hypocrisy of Hollywood, the cringe hypocrisy of Hollywood, and the divisiveness. I really don't want to play into the overall divisiveness, but I would certainly like to point out Hollywood, the entertainment industry, the gaming industry, the comic book. Can we call it an industry anymore? I don't think we can call it an industry. The comic book entity, that we will call it, and the consequences of what a lot of us have been talking about. I'll speak for myself. I've been trying to not be partisan about all this stuff and try to get partisan stuff out of particular entertainment. Now, it certainly has its place, of course. Part of YouTubing, and I mean, this is why it's a superior platform to Twitter, is nuance. But we also have to state the obvious sometimes, because people will disingenuously take stuff literally on Twitter. So you can explain yourself a little better here. And Hollywood has most definitely been playing into it. And you can both support a cause and be against violence at the same time. It is possible, not on Twitter, but in the real world. And thank God Twitter isn't the real world. But unfortunately, Hollywood in particular, Bad Robot in particular, is using Twitter logic in the real world. So that's the particular problem I have. We will also talk about some comic shops that have unfortunately been vandalized. They have some GoFundMes up, and a couple are not even going to bother opening back up again because of, obviously, the beer bug. And then on top of that, they get all their product stuff that they owned, by the way. It wasn't on loan from anybody. A comic shop owner owns everything in his or her store. And that was stolen. In the name of what? In the name of what? Not justice. not justice. So we will talk about that. I don't really, I will preface everything because people like to be disingenuous out there all the time with the fact that George Floyd was indeed murdered by a police officer while 3 others stood and did absolutely nothing. This is a crime that was tyranny. They were the aggressors, and they should all go to jail. What charge? I don't know. Hopefully, whatever one sticks. That's the one I prefer. Not the one that will have them walk. That being said, I am certainly the statements that have come out from Lucasfilm and Sony and Star Wars in of themselves, in isolation, nobody has a problem with, except for some language and for something that's missing. And that we all know why denouncing violence is missing from those statements, because they're cowards. Because they're afraid of any little bit of blowback. And by the way, there's a meme going around that's probably not wrong. There's probably a pre-written statement out there that says, we support insert cause here. Brand supports insert cause here for insert cause here. And they do it in the safest way possible to sell the most things. While not helping. And normally these statements are fine, honestly, unless there is rioting going on and violence. And when you don't denounce violence, you sign off on it. Simple as that. And I am talking about innocent people. So again, what happened to George Floyd was a crime. It was an injustice. People should absolutely protest peacefully. All for it. I'm all for any peaceful protest of any kind. That's a good thing in this country. And it doesn't have to be something I agree with. I will fight for your right to protest peacefully all day long. I don't know. Call me old fashioned. I'm against violence and ruining innocent people's lives. And I'm against the police ruining innocent people's lives. And that's even a person who might be charged with a petty crime. And let's focus on that fact. There's a lot of minutia here that we have to go over that I won't, but those are my feelings up front. Okay. I think we really need to re-examine a lot of things with the police. Absolutely. I've always been for this since I was a kid, and I felt the wrong end of a mag light about 20 times all over my body, and about 6 or 7 times on my head, and a couple times in my eye socket. So I absolutely agree with that stuff. Okay. And by the way, I was a kid. I was under 18 when that happened. But everybody should have a voice. We should all be treated equally. These are obvious things. Is it happening? Of course not. Of course not. But you know what? Conversations are, and finding common ground is what moves things forward. And what Hollywood and the entertainment industry and the BBC have been doing is basically treating people like infants. Exposed in the Doctor Who episode where they had Ryan and another character whose name I forgot, sucking, in the episode Orphan 55, sucking their thumbs. The symbolism there says everything you need to know. Absolutely everything you need to know. Hollywood doesn't care. Never has cared, never will. Jar Jar Abrams doesn't care. The only thing he cares about is power. I've been saying this for years on this channel now, and I'm glad a lot of people saw Jar Jar Abrams exposed, because he comes off as this really sweet cat, this really nice, likable guy, and he's been able to use that. I mean, it's a superpower with him, with bullshit, and he's able to trick people into thinking he's a talented filmmaker, which he's not. A talented storyteller, which he's not. As a director, he's fine. He's average. He's just your garden variety Spielberg clone, and doesn't do a very good job of it. And as a storyteller, he's horrible, absolutely horrible. But he's very good at what you need to have to succeed in Hollywood, the art of bullshit. And when somebody out there who is worth $300 million, which that is off because he just received $500 million from Warner Brothers, and I'm guessing that's going to be paid over time, but that's what he's going to get to ruin another franchise. And you can certainly, and you know what? I won't play into it. I won't show you what his home looks like. It's out there. It's out there. And in one particular statement here, which we're going to go into bounding into comics. Bounding into comics. Give me just a second here. There we go. I'm going to have to resize this, of course. Just a wee bit so we can see the chat. All right. Now, again, to preface, a lot of this statement I don't have a problem with at all, except for what's missing. And one particular statement, and I'm just pointing out the hypocrisy of it, which is obvious. So what the statement from J.J. Abrams, Bad Robot, this is signed off by him. That is his company. Enough is enough. Enough police brutality. Sure. Enough outsized privilege. Okay. We can certainly talk about that one. That sounds like projection. That's nothing I practice in my daily life. So how about enough generalization? I'd like to add with that, but maybe at Bad Robot, maybe at Hollywood, this is a real thing that needs to be addressed, and I'll talk about that in just a second. Enough polite conversation. Okay, what does that mean? What does that mean? And what does this mean? Enough white comfort. Enough white comfort. So it's insinuating that we've been very comfortable and we've been ignoring this stuff. And again, that's a very broad generalization, and it sounds like a projection. Maybe for Hollywood, if he's directing this, if he said, I am directing this towards us, towards myself, towards Hollywood, I could back this statement. I could. But no, this is aimed towards what? The middle class? The middle class that is not all white, by the way, that has supported Bad Robot for a long, long time. Tell you what, if a society isn't comfortable, if they're in fear, which is, the opposite of comfortable is uncomfortable, and to be uncomfortable, you would be in fear. How are they going to enjoy a fun little Jar Jar Abrams movie? Enough lopsided access. Well, that has to be directed towards Hollywood and other places. Again, I cannot speak for Banks or Hollywood. I don't work in these places. I don't make decisions in these places, and I don't necessarily like decisions from these places. So again, broad generalizations, and we need to talk about unintended consequences. And the road to hell is paved with good intentions, and I'm sure there were. I'm trying to be nice here and fair. I'm sure there were some very good intentions behind this. And again, I am not, by me calling Jar Jar Abrams out, I'm not against anything like, again, this, which absolutely needs to stop. But when I see this right here, that's playing into the divisiveness. Absolutely playing in the divisiveness in this country. And we are seeing the result of 3-4 years of constant. There's a lot of factors to what's going on right now. And I am not a political scientist. I am not a political person in any way, shape, or form. I would love to just enjoy my escapism with certain things, because I think something like Star Trek, Star Wars, Marvel Comics, DC Comics, and Doctor Who have been quite unifying in the past. And that was one of my favorite things about them. I don't even know what this means. Okay, does this mean exhausting our friends and colleagues, like working them too hard or something? I mean, like that. Okay, yeah. Hollywood most definitely does guilt you into working 16 to 20-hour days. But I mean, the fact of the matter is there's other jobs out there. There's other jobs out there that pay better, that work, that treat you fair, that do treat you pretty fair. So, I mean, life's full of choices. Enough being incurious. Wow, that is just a pretentious up your ass statement and an assumption. And again, this is all projection. Enough being unintentional. That's what I wanted to get to. You're being unintentional right now, you freaking dumb a-hole. Enough injustice. Okay, I agree. Enough murder. Hey, I'm against enough death. Okay, that... Nature, enough death. Nature, I know what they mean. These are meaningless statements. What I didn't see is enough violence. Enough of the violence. Enough of the indiscriminate violence against innocent people pulling women out of cars. People have died now. People have died. And we're not seeing... I haven't seen a lot of names being thrown up there of the people who died. Now, granted, I turned off the mainstream media and Twitter last night. Had enough. And the reason I had enough is I try to practice what I preach, folks. So the way I've always seen politics, because when I watch the mainstream media all the time, I've told the story before. I got sick of it and I stopped. And I just worried about what I can do something about. And there is positive change you can make in very little ways in your own life. And that's what I try to do. I'm not perfect at it, believe me. But I try to do that. So these broad generalizations can have unintended consequences. So an argument can be made that Bad Robot absolutely endorsed looting comic stores. And what sucks about this whole situation is some positive change really could have happened. And hopefully it still does. Hopefully it still does. That's my desire. I want everybody to be happy and want us all to come together and go to con and go back to arguing about, freaking like Rise of Skywalker and how shitty Star Trek is. But that shitty Star Trek did play a little part in this. And the attitude of the creatives in Hollywood, not everyone. Okay, I want to stress that. I have talked to some people who are very much against what was going on and knew that what the consequences were. And they were trying to do their part in their own little ways. But we're talking specifically about people in power in Hollywood right now. Not talking about anybody else. Not talking about peaceful protesters, which, again, have every right to be out there right now doing what they do. And unfortunately, the situation got hijacked by a lot of bad actors and probably some organized bad actors out there, which is unfortunate to say the least. So we're all worried about, it's hard to bring change and have real conversations when we're worried about our kids, where we're wondering if we need to move, because the safety of our kids is everybody's priority. And I know it's absolutely the priority of the mothers and fathers out there who have been in a lot of cases, because they're human, victimized by cops. I understand that. I do. So you have my ear for that, but you don't have it for violence against innocent people. I think that's a pretty common sense approach. And if somebody has a problem with that, I really don't care. What I have been fighting against, which was not my intention of the channel. I would just wanted to review TV shows, by the way. That's it. What I have been fighting against was this divisiveness. Again, it's okay to have a political film. It's okay to get political in comics and other things when you do it with empathy, when you do it with neutrality and you try to see the other side, because it's really, that's a much better way of conveying your message. That's been lost. Our escapism's been lost because of power and because Hollywood has been enjoying a very, very lucrative period over the last 4 or 5 years in particular. Now, they've always been making crap loads of money, but it's been a lot of money. I would say with the investors coming in for the streaming wars and stuff, there was money coming into Hollywood that they had never seen before. And that's why they were able to greenlight so many projects. And that's why in the early part of that, we were getting some really good stuff because people were taking chances. We got a show like Counterpart, which would never, that would never exist if it wasn't a good economy in Hollywood, a good regional economy. So they played into it. There was a lot of sheer fucking hubris going on in Hollywood, and they played their part in this. People have been constantly barraged with how bad things were all the time. And while things are never good all the time, they're never bad all the time. Both things again can happen. And, it's hard in a time like this to practice gratitude. It's difficult. It's difficult for me. It's difficult for my sponsor. It's difficult for my friends in an AA where we can't even meet in person right now. And unfortunately, relapse his relapse is up. Alcohol abuse is up. Drug abuse is up. Everything's up. And these are things we don't have a lot of control over, but our politicians do. And our politicians and the entertainment industry fanning the flames instead of, except for the mayor of Atlanta, her initial statement was brilliant. I agree with Jeremy. That's what you call leadership. We need a lot more of that. We really do need what she said that night. Made a lot of sense. And I hope a lot of people just remember that. But yeah, it's hard to focus on positive and be grateful in times like this, but this is the times we really need that. So I hope everybody is in a safe place. Okay, that is my desire, and I hope we can have conversations. I am certainly open. Again, my ears are always open to these conversations. But let's see who is here. And then I will get back to that Jar Jar article because I'm glad I didn't go live last night because I was pissed off, and I hadn't been that pissed in a long time, and it might have been just being locked down, seeing all that stuff on Twitter, but that one set me, the Lucasfilm statement, the Naughty Dog statement, the Sony statements, they're all filled with hypocrisy. And thankfully, most people saw through that on both sides. They're like, shut the frack up. And that's good. That's a good thing. But I'm glad I slept on it. I actually called my sponsor. I'm really pissed off. What happened? I saw a tweet. And he's all, what? I saw a tweet. And when you say it out loud, you're like, oh, yeah. It just kind of deflates it right there. But, I was angry over that statement because of the hypocrisy and Jar Jar's. And the best thing, honestly, for Hollywood celebs, if they want to help a cause, help a cause. But by all means, be an adult and do your homework and just don't blindly give your money to an organization that could take off with it, that could be funding the violence. And that's all we ask. Support the causes all you want, but we all know that you tweeted about supporting the cause and then you probably supported it afterwards, because I noticed some tweets came before showing that you paid your $50 on PayPal towards that card. By the way, $50 towards a cause. I wouldn't have put that up there. Patton Oswalt's the worst, and Seth Rogen. They don't realize, again, and listen, actors are artists, so they're very emotional people. They go to emotion first. I can be that way too. We can all be that way. And they don't realize the damage they do because for the most part, they're pretty dumb. So I've talked a lot about the person who walks away silently, the person who really hates what's going on, but doesn't go on Twitter and bitch about it, with either because they don't want to deal with the blowback they're going to get, or they just don't need to because it's Twitter. Who cares? Why do you have to spurt out every feeling you have every 5 seconds? You don't. That's the vast majority of the country. So that's why polls were wrong, we'll say, a few years ago. So that's why the Fall of Skywalker made $1 billion less than The Force Awakens, because people, a vast majority of Star Wars fans just went, this sucks, and I don't even want to talk about it anymore. I have no time for that. I'm too busy working, going about my lives. Now, the reason the situation is exacerbated right now is because there's a lot of people not working. So they get a constant dose of this all the time. It's not healthy in any way, shape, or form. And it sucks. I know we need to know what's going on. What I use now is a couple of apps. And yes, I realize I'm probably being surveyed by China or somebody by going to these apps, but whatever. I use my Citizen app, right? Which tells me what's going on around me in real time. Let's see what's going on around me right now. That's new. A man on Mission Street, and this was 42 minutes ago. There was a man brandishing a gun. And on a pedestrian was nicked by a car. And that's honestly, that's kind of a normal day around here. I'm not going to say that's anything unusual. My ice cream was awesome, Eric K. I had that was my chocolate chip cookie, core. I have sometimes after a big long live stream I have some ice cream. It's my indulgence. I don't usually like sweets or anything like that, but it's good for the soul. It is. So what's up, Eric K? Yeah, I forgot to turn off my live stream the other night. So somebody got a chair stream. I'm glad, dude, it's bound to happen. How many live streams have I done? 500? I think I've done somewhere around the neighborhood of 500 live streams. So to not turn it off once is pretty good. It's pretty good. Thanks, Eric K, for the $2. So who do we have here? We got Peppermint Oil Capsule. We got Adamant Outcast. We got Dr. Beast Hunter. What's up? Are you in the UK? What's up, UK? I was watching a little bit of Az's stream today. Mark Santos. We got Rennie. We got Chris Miracle. We got Montesaurus. David Rayner. Arthur P. John Robertson. Sarah B. And Odin. What's up, Odin? How's it going? Man? I don't know about you. I'm pretty close to having my summer beard trim, which it's going to take a couple inches off it. Very close. What's up, Stellar Heather? And Wade Wilson. And Father Christopher Miller. Hale. Andy Morley. Nicholas Horton. Captain Spire. The gang's all here. So yeah, there have been some statements out there, and I'm sure you've all seen them, probably more than I have, quite frankly, and they all look really similar, like they just passed them around or screen capped Lucasfilm's statement for Star Wars. And yeah, and I guess today's supposed to be what, Blackout Tuesday? I don't understand what that is, and I just saw that it's Blackout Tuesday, and I'm like, I gotta go live. the show must go on. The show must go on. What's up, Steve Carter? He said, just dropped as I'll go back after this. Hail, Gary. Hail. It's fine. I'm going to be live for a while. Guns Akimbo, has actors in it. Modalicious for $2. Guns Akimbo. I don't know what that means, Modalicious. I might have missed something, but, tell me what that means in the chat. Just in the chat. Just hit @Gary. You don't have to super chat again. Randomize for £4.99. Hail, Gary. Loved the post-show ice cream eating on the last stream. LOL. Keep up the great work. P.S. What flavor was it? It was chocolate chip cookie core. It was absolutely... I'm glad so many people saw it. I was enjoying the hell out of it, by the way. It was so yummy. Yeah, I didn't even know. Like, I was just sitting there eating. I'm like, I'm going to shut everything down, and walked away. I found out later. Lord Thoth for 2 Canadian pesos. If you need a legal expert on your team, let me know. I probably, Lord Thoth. Yeah, I always do. We have a lawyer that if we need to call, like, it's not like he's constantly waiting for my, call or anything, but we have somebody we could talk to if we need to, but thank you. It's always good to have a team. My team is me and Mrs. Nerdrotic. And Nerdrotic the Tall helps me with stuff too. Randy G for £2. Antifa to be looked at under RICO. Donators beware. Yeah. They're gonna get a lot of attention, and they honestly haven't. But I mean, who can you blame? You can't blame the businesses. All right. So Golden Apple Comics was vandalized down in LA. And I know Ryan a little. I mean, we've hung out a couple of times. It's been years since I've seen Ryan, the owner, Ryan Leibowitz. And he's just a good human being. He's a good human being, and he didn't deserve that. I would guess that he supports your cause, and he didn't deserve that. But he's going to be okay. But there's another shop in San Diego in La Mesa, which, by the way, this is just my opinion. This shows it's coordinated because, for one, people don't protest in San Diego. And when they protest, they don't protest in La Mesa. Why did they choose La Mesa? The people who protest in San Diego live in Kensington. They live in Hillcrest. They live in Pacific Beach. They live in Imperial Beach. They don't live in La Mesa. Just think of your most normal strip mall part of America. That's La Mesa. Shit doesn't happen there, ever. So, yeah. The Talons of Wang Chang for £4.99. Hey, hi, Gary. Glad to hear you cracked open those Blake 7 DVDs I sent you. Hope you're enjoying them, and I look forward to the review. Stay safe, mate. Yes, I am almost finished with season 1. Okay, so when I say I've been watching it, I watch like an episode every couple days when I can, because they're hour. But yeah, here it is. Thank you, Talons of Wang Chang. Thank you so much. I got all the seasons. Yeah, and it is dope. Avon is definitely the best character, like by far. I didn't even know like the main character leaves the show. The main character bails out in the show. What is that? Dog hair? Great. I said this last time, but this is the last day of my mic. I've got a whole sound system I'm going to hook up. We were supposed to be hitting the road to go look for places, to go talk about places to stay. And I just don't think that can happen right now. I don't think it's probably wise to go. We were going to go down to San Diego, and it's just like, So we might push that off, and I might go journey out of state. We'll see how things go. Again, not to get too real world on you, but I guess we're going to find out. And I mean this in all seriousness. We're going to find out how bad the beer bug is. And it should be any day now. It should be, according to Google, again, this is not scientific, this is Google. It takes 5 to 6 days and then 14 days, up to 14 days. So 5 to 6 days for symptoms and then 14 days. So Alex the Collector for £4.99 sent you an email about the Expanse actress IG post. I'm pretty annoyed to the point that I'm switching off and reading books and comics. Hail to you. Yeah, I don't follow actors, and unless it's somebody I really, really like because of that reason. Now, there is, hey, I'm seeing a bunch of stuff, and I try actually, to be fair. So you're watching this constant stream, and it's upsetting. So if an actor pops off like once in a great while, it's like, if it's the constant thing. It's the constant thing, because we get hit so much with, you're just constantly negative. We talk about stuff we like all the time. All the time. That's complete BS. And you go to my Twitter feed with all the crap I've been accused of. Go to my Facebook, go to my Twitter, go to my Instagram. How many times have I even come close to being political other than talking about the situation here? And again, I'm trying to come up with common sense. I am just concerned about innocent people right now. That's it. The cause, you could support the cause, which I do. And I think, but again, supporting the cause, I think is pretty common sense at this point too. I don't know how, and listen, I know there's other details, doesn't matter. Forgery charge, that kind of response for a forgery charge was, that is ridiculous. It's ridiculous for $20 or something like that. During a lockdown, when you're releasing prisoners already for crimes that are worse than that makes absolutely no sense logically. It just doesn't. But back to what you're saying, Alex. Yeah, I don't blame you. I mean, we've had enough, and not that they're going to listen to me unless you have something positive to add or you have a real freaking point. The celebrities, unfortunately, their voice has weight to it, and it can really endorse and encourage people, especially when they're in the act. Now, I would argue against that if it's just somebody sitting at home. But, because you can use the logic, well, they say video games cause violence. I don't believe that. But I believe that while violence is going on and you're perceived, whether you intended to or not, to be rooting it on, and some people have literally been rooting it on, let's use their language. That's not a really good look. And while you're getting a lot of likes on your Twitter posts, a lot of those sweet, sweet Twitter dopamine hits, think about the people who see that, because there's no dislike. You can leave a comment, but there's no dislike. Think of all the people who see that and would hit a dislike if they could, or just unfollow or walk away, or I don't want to hear this person, or just said what Alex said. What Alex the Collector said is probably what the majority of people said. It's like, enough. You're an adult pretender. Your grasp on reality is probably not equal to, I would say, any working woman or man out there. If you are even a B celebrity, you will live a pretty pampered life. Destiny Captain. Okay, so with Patreon will forward me sometimes emails to my main email. The one place to contact me at all times is Gary@nerdrotic.com, the email. The DMs on everything else are very hit and miss. So I try to curate it through my email. I haven't seen it through the email yet, Destiny Captain, but thank you for the $1.99. I will get back to you as soon as I can. As soon as I can. But thank you. 52 movies a year for $4.99. Hashtag let script doctor write MOS 2 or Man of Steel 2. let Script Doctor write Man of Steel 2. We'll tell him, well, I don't know. I'd tell him to write it, but unless he could sell the script, unless he could actually sell the script, he would probably be wasting. What Mrs. Nerdrotic always asked me, and then I asked myself, is this the best use of my time? Is this the best use of my time? I largely believe fan films and creating fan fiction, for the most part, are probably not the best use of your time. You only have so much creative in you, and maybe you should try to use it on your own stuff, because that could lead to something. That could lead to you working. The chances of you getting a job at Hollywood writing fan fiction or writing something for somebody else's property are slim to none. The chances of you writing your own original script are better. I'm not going to say they're great, but they're better. 13th Warrior for $5. The right of the people to peaceably assemble and to petition the government for a redress of grievances. The First Amendment. Absolutely. Peaceably. Peaceably. Peaceably is the highlighted word there. I agree. I agree with that. And, it should continue until the fact of the matter is, though, it will change come out of this because of the violence. That's a big fat I don't know. That is for bigger brains than me. Mark C for $5. I wish I could make a statement about white privilege from a $6.5 million home. I think a lot of people do. I think a lot of people of all makes, shapes, and sizes wish they could make some statement, some vague statement from the lap of luxury. But they don't see it that way. I will translate you that statement, and I know you all know what it means. Please don't come and burn down my $6.5 million house. Chronix for $5. This has got me so pissed off at these overly virtuous companies that I've finally committed to retro games, old-fashioned movies. The past is my future. Yep. At this point, I don't have the power to call a boycott, but I will tell you what I am going to do. I am not going to support Bad Robot in anything until I hear them also denounce the violence. Part of their statement was fine, absolutely fine. But that omission of denouncing the violence was only omitted out of cowardice, because they were afraid they would get some blowback from the morons on Twitter who cannot hold two arguments in their head at the same time. Or more importantly, because I don't believe all people are morons, I think we will use the word disingenuous. The disingenuous people out there who will manipulate the situation to exacerbate the situation and give them backlash and blowback. Because I had a conversation about this. I thought about it. I did. I'm like, well, is there a reason? Is there a logical reason they left that out? That's something I will always try to consider. And Mrs. Nerdrotic and I talked about it, and she said, well, it could be taken as, if you're denouncing violence, you're calling all of them violent. Well, no, I would not assume that. See, I am not going to assume that the people who truly want justice for George Floyd are all committing violence. Some might be, sure. But I saw peaceful protesters. I did. I saw a lot of good things within the complete chaos. There was some good moments. The cop taking the knee with all those people in LA, and people calling out, and please continue to do that, because then you are absolutely the good guy and gal out there when you were calling out the violence while you're protesting, doing your best to keep that from happening, and every little good deed helps, believe me. So thank you for that. Thank you. Or maybe just simply following up your statement, pointing out something like that. How could anybody perceive that as being bad? But no, they leave it out because they're cowards and they don't really give a crap. Please keep buying our stuff and please don't burn down Hollywood. I mean, like, I really was tempted, like you all were, to point out some places where you could go. Because honestly, ripping up small businesses isn't going to win anyone any friends at all. If you are a somewhat mature adult at all. At all. And the saddest thing is, I mean, these are kids. These are kids. A lot of kids out there being manipulated by adults. And some of those kids, their lives are going to be ruined forever for feeding in to the negativity, which was not what the protest was supposed to be about and still isn't about. And again, it hasn't changed my mind to the situation at all. The obvious thing is it's going to just turn a lot of people off to it and they're not going to want to think about it. And plus they're not going to have time to think about it. Like I said, conversations can't happen when people are too uncomfortable, when they're in fear for their lives, their livelihood, their shelter. People talk about it's just stuff. No, your shelter is extremely important in a society. Go ask any homeless person. Anybody has, as London Breed calls it, experiencing homelessness. It's pretty damn important. And when people are just worried about that, they're not going to be too concerned about a cause. So, and that's the unfortunate thing about it. It is. This is okay. So thank you, Chronics, for the $5. I appreciate all of you. And again, you can think both in your head. And Eric July has been saying this from the get-go. Okay. And I put it in my tweet at the end, at the bottom of the Bounding into Comics article. I just put bad cops equal tyranny. Rioters equal tyranny. They're both tyranny. Hey, Gary, thanks so much for the shout out earlier in the week. Oh, you're welcome. And thanks so much for my channel. It exists because you're inspiration. Wow. Thanks. I will always be grateful. Let me know whenever we can stream together. I will let you know, Svi. Svi Lebekin, thank you for the $20. I always try to keep it real as I can with you folks. And like I said, everybody's welcome here. Despite what is said about me in Reddit groups. You don't have to agree with everything I say. Nobody does. That's fine. I am okay with that. I am open to absolutely any argument. I might not believe it, but Hollywood is not our friend. Mainstream media is not our friend. Big tech is not our friend. We are all equal in their eyes, and we're one of two things or two things at the same time. And it's not our different makes, shapes, or sizes. It's you are a follower or a consumer. You are one of those two things, or both of those things. You are a follower consumer to Hollywood, to big tech, to the BBC, to the comic industry, and you're nothing more. You're absolutely nothing more. So that's the equality. We are under the umbrella of these, in this technocratic society and these corporations that have gotten much too big. And listen, again, I'm not against being rich. By all means, we need them. We need rich people. But sometimes a lot of times they lack self-awareness and tact. The Talons of Wang Chang for £4.99. Do you think JJ and his wife have been influenced by Kate Capshaw at all? As I've heard she's pretty woke and she will see a lot, and they will see a lot of her, I imagine. Talons of Wang Chang, that's when Spielberg changed. When he met Kate Capshaw on the set of Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom, And I've always equated her as the Yoko Ono of Hollywood. And yeah, so Spielberg was an outsider for the longest time. He wouldn't be accepted by the Academy. They wouldn't nominate any of his movies. They hated the guy for what he was doing. He was commercializing theater, just making him lots of money. But then he became part of the system, and I think she had a lot to do with it. JJ's wife is very influential in the Time's Up era, and she was influential in getting the CEO at the time at Warner Brothers fired, getting Me Too'd out there because he slept with an actress, by the way. The guy was fired for sleeping with an actress, which is something that just happened 5 minutes ago. A CEO slept with an actress. It's probably happening right now. And they are not practicing their social distancing. You know what I'm saying? So their power grab, he has got people in Amazon's Lord of the Rings, obviously Westworld. He is now in control of DC. He has people at Star Wars. He has his protege running Star Trek right now. If that isn't a power grab, I don't know what is. And listen, the one thing I do not believe in this world is coincidence. Coincidence. Like there's something happening today that I will not address that you might know. And all of a sudden people are asking for social media blackouts. It's very interesting. An interesting coincidence. Silver Surfer sucks. Change my mind. Modalicious. Silver Surfer does not suck. How can I change your mind? Why do you think he sucks? I think the story of a man who sacrifices himself to save his planet, but then he is tasked to do the most horrific thing, which is picking planets for destruction for Galactus, which Galactus is not an evil entity. Galactus is like a shark. It's an important part of the universe, of nature. He is a force of nature. So what Silver Surfer tries to do is tries to minimize the damage, but it tortures his soul. It tortures the man's soul. And then he goes down to Earth, and through Sue Storm and the Thing and the Fantastic Four, he finds his humanity. And then he gets banished on Earth for years and years with the barrier that's around Earth. It's a great story. I don't know what sucks about that. I mean, yeah, he's on a surfboard, but he's got the power cosmic. I've always loved Silver Surfer. So I don't know. You got to tell me, Modalicious, why you don't like him. I mean, he's a naked silver guy with no dong flying around. I mean, yes, the question has to be asked. Is he wearing pants, or does he have a silver dong? Just like does the Thing have a rock dong? Captain Spire for $2. Do I have time to mail you out more coffee, LLAP? I don't know. Do you? That's up to you, Captain Spire. My time is, it's not a complaint. It's just the way things are right now. I have to find time, and right now there's a lot of stuff outside the channel, some real life stuff I have to deal with, like moving, which actually takes a lot of time. So I will get to it as soon as possible. Thank you, Captain Spire. Scottish Nerd for £2. I am grateful for you, Gary. Thank you, Scottish Nerd. I am grateful for you guys, too. I am grateful for you all. I get to stuff as soon as I can. Believe me, I do not sit around mucking about very much. I carve out time to watch Blake 7, and believe me, I'm grateful for that. So thank you again, Talons of Wang Chang. My God, it was so nice to just shut down, watch 2 episodes last night, and it was great. I love the old BBC. God, I miss the old BBC. And you watch this show, and it looks like it was made like 20 years before Star Wars came out, and it was made after Star Wars came out, but I still love it. The story's brilliant. Scottish Nerd, thank you for the phallic unicorn at $1.49. All right, let's. I want to go over this this article some more, just show the details on it. So let's do that. Where'd it go? There it is. There it is. All right. Jar Jar Abrams' Bad Robot issues statement following a weekend of riots and looting. Enough white comfort. God, I even hate saying that out loud. J.J. Abrams' Bad Reboot Company issued a statement. Let's just say J.J. Abrams released a statement following a weekend of riots and looting across the United States in the wake of the death of George Floyd in Minnesota. Bad Reboot posted the message to Instagram. Again, enough is enough. Enough police brutality. Enough outsized privilege. Enough polite conversation. Enough white comfort. Enough lopsided access. Enough exhausting our friends and colleagues. Enough being incurious. Enough being unintentional. Enough justice. Enough death. Enough. All right. So, again, enough exhausting our friends and colleagues. You just added to it. So this added to it, whether it was this or not. And I'd also like to remind everyone, Hollywood loves to talk about inclusivity and diversity. Like have you noticed how they phrase things, how the Access Media frames things like, we're the ones who made the decisions over the last 30 years to not cast enough black actors in leads or get enough women directors. They acted like it was our decision. And all of a sudden, they're rising up against the audience and they're going to make the decisions against our demands. That's how they word this shit. That's how manipulative they are. No, Jar Jar Abrams and his ilk made those decisions. So they love to pat themselves on the back for doing something they should have done all along, and then they blame the audience for it. Now, they don't outright do it, but look at how every freaking article is worded. They act like they're separated from the situation. They would have got away with it if it wasn't for those pesky paying customers who actually have working brain cells, which is most of them. They don't think you do, though. Again, they project a lot. Hollywood does not, again, it's obvious. It's a superficial town. And, we're not being hyperbolic. It is a superficial town. They have to praise each other when they do something that seems genuine. They're not really sure because they have no fucking idea what genuine is. And they've been telling us how to live for a long, long time and been really, really playing up everything that's wrong. And when sometimes perception is reality, unfortunately. Okay. There's the post. And the second slide, a lengthier statement begins with, "We at Bad Robot are grateful to the many scholars, activists, organizers, and leaders fighting on the front lines of change in our systematically unjust country." Our systematically unjust country. A company worth billions of dollars just called it a systematically. So are they doing their part? Why don't Bad Robot, why don't you donate everything other than what's required to keep your business going? Why doesn't Jar Jar Abrams live in a 4-bedroom condo or something? He doesn't need a big old house like that. I think it's pretty unjust that Jar Jar Abrams takes up all that land. That's pretty unjust. Do they actually think they're going to be separated. I mean, again, this is please don't come for us. Please don't come for us. And most critically thinking people see that, thankfully. It is the constellation of thinkers and doers who have the blueprint to a more perfect, fair, equatable, and kind union. Okay. Is it fair to have, I mean, how much money do you need? I've never had a problem with it, but I'm not calling this shit out either. The only thing I can go on is my life experience. That's it. That's all I can go on. So I'm not going to pretend to know somebody else's life experience. That's why I am always open to new ideas. Through my life experience, I have not necessarily lived a life of privilege. So I don't know who the hell he's talking about. I'm sure there's people out there. Again, it's a lot of projection. The most privileged place on the planet is Hollywood and Silicon Valley right now. That I know of. There might be someplace more that I know of. Again, based on my personal life experience, through hard work and through good relationships, I've had a pretty decent life of late. Not always, because life isn't fair. Life is, if it was fair, none of this stuff would be happening right now, because 3.5 months ago, we were experiencing the best economy that I've experienced in my lifetime. Now, regionally, that might not be the case. I understand that. I'm talking about overall. There's never going to be a perfect economy, and there's going to be people having bad times and good times all the time, of course. And a lot of this was actually the government, which a lot of decisions don't directly affect people a lot. It's systematic, as they say, and it trickles down, and it eventually, it whittles away at people's lives, but it's not a major disturbance for the most part. Not all the time, of course. But we took safe measures because we were given information. We went off the information we were given. So we decided to lock down the country. And when they went too long, which definitely played into what's going on right now, and anybody who pretends it doesn't, again, I'll bring up that word disingenuous. It's a factor. It's an absolute factor, obviously. And you look at the regions it's happening, generally a lot of them are the ones that have been locked down. So for the longest periods of time. We still are, and it's indefinite, by the way. And not everybody can just pick up and leave. I understand. Well, I barely can, but I'm not gonna wait for a right time. When's a right time? When's a right time to pick up and leave? Usually it's now. But unfortunately, it's going to take a little more time than I like. But not everybody can do that. I understand that. So you got to make do. It continues. In this fragile time, words matter. Listening is critical and investment is required. I absolutely agree with that. But that shows you the centuries-long neglect and abuse of our black brothers and sisters can only be addressed by scalable investment, a massive and thoughtful overhaul of tax policy, one that effectively meets the needs of the many in this country, that not just of the few, is long overdue. The second slide concludes. Okay, so this goes right into being political. It talks about a massive and thoughtful tax policy. Wow. Okay. Does it start with you? I mean, are you what are you talking about specifically? Again, if they want to start getting into like using words like policy, all right, let's get specific. What are you talking about? Or are you just, hey, do something massive and overhaul-y, okay? We're going to go back to our $1 million mansion, spending millions and billions of dollars on movies and make-believe. If you get what you guys want, you might be living in a system that won't allow that. Do you understand that, big boy? Big boy Abrams, do you understand that? Do you understand? Or do you think you will be, you'll be different? You'll be different. I'm all about investment, though. If you want to invest time into that, absolutely. Let's be the change you want to be, man. Be the change you want to be. The third slide begins, corporate and private philanthropy can never achieve the impact needed to address these systematic inadequacies. But companies and individuals who are able must do what they can until our political leaders lead. Well, if you're talking about all the political leaders and not specific ones, which I know that's what you're talking about, I would agree with you. But there hasn't been a lot of leadership lately. Go talk to the folks at Minnesota. Go talk to the people here. I'll talk about my experience with our leader, Mayor London Breed. She isn't one at all. She just follows what other mayors do, what other county supervisors do, and she does nothing. Nothing. They then announced that they will be contributing $10 million to groups with anti-racist agendas. I hope every group is an anti-racist agenda. What is that supposed to mean? So there's groups out there that have a pro-racist agenda. Who are these groups? Please, Katie McGrath and J.J. Abrams, please, so I can come out against them with you. Who are the pro-racist groups out there? I would like to hear what your thoughts are on this. Katie McGrath and J.J. Abrams. By the way, the Katie McGrath and J.J. Abrams Family Foundation over the next 5 years. That is a tax shelter. 10 million is good. Awesome. Great. Do your part. Jar Jar Abrams gets $300 million, what, a year? A year. So that's good. That's good. Great. Hope it helps. I'm just curious about, I just assume, so they're saying that there's pro-racist groups here. Okay. Who are they? The statement explains, between Bad Robot and Katie McGrath and the J.J. Abrams Foundation, we are committing an additional $10 million over the next 5 years to organizations and efforts committed to anti-racist agendas that close the gaps, lift the poor, and build a just America for all, and then announced initial $200,000 in donations to the following organizations: Black Futures Lab, Black Lives Matter Los Angeles, Community Coalition of South Los Angeles, Equal Justice Initiative, Know Your Rights Camp. I cannot speak on if these are legit organizations or not. If they you should be able to look that up though, and see how much money actually goes to the people, and hopefully they're not going to some guy or gal who's running the organization and takes off with most of it by taking extravagant vacations. Bad Robot's message comes after a number of other corporations and media entities. After another corporations and media entities issued their own statements in the wake of the protests, riots, and looting, Star Wars took to Twitter and said, nobody denounced violence. Isn't that funny? Wait. Alone together. Are we still doing this, by the way? I don't know. And I see a clown. It ends up with a clown. What do I make of Jar Jar Abrams' statement? Disingenuous, hypocritical, manipulative. Those are the words that come to mind. What doesn't come to mind? Genuine. There isn't a genuine particle, molecule, cell in his body. The guy's a fraud. He's always been a fraud. He's a car salesman. He's a shyster. He's a snake oil salesman. And he does it very well. And he's backed by all the right people. And talk about all this inclusivity and diversity. you know what? The same people in power in Hollywood were the same people in power 10 years ago. They got rid of one. They sacrificed one. But he was on the way down anyway. Good old Harvey. He was on his way out anyway. And they made him a sacrificial... I'm not going to use the word lamb. I would think of a different animal right now that I won't say. But yeah. You know, I really want to talk about how much Star Trek sucks again. I do. It's just tough. I'm getting a lot of emails and stuff, and you know, I understand a lot of people are hurt right now, and this just did not help. It came at the worst time. But who didn't see this coming, honestly? Hopefully calmer minds will prevail, and we'll get some real conversation, and we don't lose a bunch of our... I'm worried about losing more civil rights, because that most definitely can happen out of this. That's what I'm worried about. So, with everything going on, do you think this sinks the liberal damn ship in November? And do you think that Hollywood's response is the final nail in their coffin? IK 1906 for $5. They'll always be around. Listen, we need a two-party system. I do not want to live in a one-party system. I'm basically living in it now, here regionally, and I don't like it, and I don't want it the other way either. I like balance. I am very independent and centrist and live and let live and that kind of person. I don't want one, because that will lead to tyranny. Absolutely will lead to tyranny, no matter who's in charge, whatever side, honestly. I like the checks and balances. So I think maybe we need a new party. We've talked about it forever. I don't know if it'll ever happen, or we just more people thinking independently, which I think is happening. I actually think the majority of people are centrist anyway, and they just want to live their lives and be happy. So as far as, do I think Hollywood's response is the final nail in their coffin? I think Hollywood in a way is dying. It is. I think scripted entertainment is on its way out, and I think there's a lot of indicators for that. And for people to deny that, again, would be disingenuous. All you have to do is look at independent film. And I'm talking Hollywood as an entity that makes movies, okay? Which is their main life's blood. TV shows are good, okay, and they're upset to take over, but it's still movies that bring in the quick, big bucks. And it's ridiculous money. And by the way, we all know that Hollywood economics are BS, and they end up making a lot more money than they say. So, that being said, as far as the era of the celebrity is dying, the social media is killing that. We're seeing them for what they are, which is human beings that are very fallible. I saw a great tweet. I saw a great tweet earlier. Hang on, let me see if I can find it. It said it all. And it was somebody responding to... gosh, dang it. It might have been old. I thought it was like a Seth Rogen. Yeah, I can't find it now. Okay, so I can't give this person credit. I'm paraphrasing, and if I remember it, I will definitely get. But they said it is time to stop worshiping celebrities. Stop worshiping at the altar of celebrity. That time is over. And it was in response to one of Jeremy's tweets about Seth Rogen, who said basically, if you are against, because people were calling him out for fanning the flames. And if he said, if you're calling me out for that, you're not one of my followers. You could basically F off. Okay, let's F off. Let's absolutely F off. If Seth Rogan cannot denounce violence while supporting a cause, he's a moron or he's disingenuous, and he just told us all to F off. So it's high time we do. It is high time we do. Now, you can make your own personal decision, but it will be very easy for me to never watch anything he's involved with. That sucks, because that means the boys, oh well. I got to have my principles. You know? There's a point where if he tells us to F off, we should F off. And if we actually do it in large enough numbers, they'll tune will effing change immediately. Now, keep in mind that these are statements they will probably end up regretting. They were emotional. We all do them, okay? I try to keep some understanding that we all make emotional decisions, but to double, triple down, it's like back the F off. So you need to make them pay, literally. Not, of course, with physical violence. You make them pay where it really counts, in the wallet. In the wallet. Make Hollywood pay in the wallet. And it has been happening. It absolutely. Odin, I think he either talked about it on a live stream or he did a video on this. And it was about a year ago. And he talked about independent film being down 30%. Now, independent film was a very popular thing in America. All right. We have every major city has these little art housey theaters because it's very lucrative. And this basically spawned from the 90s independent movement. And I mean, some of our best movies some of the worst and cringiest that won too many awards have come out of it too. But we've got also, back in the day, we got some great movies out of that. So it was a very lucrative thing. Movies that don't cost very much money to make. It's generally two people being mopey, sitting around a table, but they're usually big actors who have talent. And it's usually some drama, but those things make a ton of, they're hugely profitable movies. And that died. Now, why did it die? Television got better. There's it was too expensive. Going out to the theater is a passé thing. It's a 20th century concept, and it's not going to die overnight, but it's on its way out. Well, that's the minor leagues for film. You need that. And if you lose independent film, you're toast. You're done. So what we'll get is just these big blockbusters until that fizzles out. Now, I don't know how long that's going to fizzle out, but I think people will one day look at scripted entertainment as something quaint, something we don't partake in anymore. I don't know when, but Silicon Valley is taking over Hollywood. I hope you all see that. They're slowly buying theaters. There's some companies right now that are very vulnerable, and maybe one of the big tech companies will come and pounce on it. Like, I don't know, Apple buys Viacom CBS, or Netflix does, or Amazon does. Hollywood collectively cannot compete with Amazon. If you get every studio in Hollywood, put them together, they can't compete with Amazon. Bezos can outspend them all if he wants to. But for some reason, he wants to be a part of it. He wants to be accepted. But if that guy ever changed his mind, the Hollywood system is getting upset. It is changing, and it's moving north. So if you mean that, yes, they're just as freaking woke as Hollywood. So I don't know if that's a good thing or bad thing. But alienating a large portion of your fan base is helping with the divide in this country, because Hollywood, you're exactly what I am. What Jeremy said on Jeremy from the Quartering said on his video the other day. I'm a clown, dude. I'm a clown. I am here to try to entertain, give a little commentary. I'm just a regular guy. I don't know more than anybody else, or less, or maybe I do less than some people. But yeah, I just have fun most of the time. This is very serious times, but I understand my position. I am a clown. I'm a YouTube clown. And believe me, when Jake Paul goes out there and partakes in looting, and I like never brought this guy's name up. I've honestly never seen a single one of his videos, but I saw the Quarterings video on it, and my kid told me about it, that he took place. That doesn't make any of us look good, but whatever. I don't care. And that's what Hollywood is too. That's what Jar Jar Abrams is too. Jar Jar Abrams thinks he is policymaker important. Like, this dude thinks he is pretty damn important. Why? Because he gets freaking worshipped. The whole system in Hollywood is based on worship. Harvey Weinstein was called a god by Meryl Streep. Think she was joking? So it is time that part is ending. The era of the celebrity is ending. So they used to sell movies based on who was in them. Now it's what it's about, which I think that's good. That's a very positive change. And it humbles celebrities a little bit. And the worst thing to do to a celebrity, and you guys know the answer to this, they mentioned it in my video, my Star Trek video. Relevancy is the most important thing to a celebrity. It means more than money, means more than anything, is being relevant. And none of them ever are forever. And it kills them. It absolutely kills them. And that's why you see so many, like Alyssa Milano's out there and stuff. They start to lose it when they get a little older. Instead of maybe just retiring and saying, it was a good run. It's alluring. It's like a drug. It's like The Ring, Where was I? Oh, thank you, Scottish Nerd, again, for being grateful. Ulfrim, oh my God, how am I supposed to say this? Ulfigrimmer is a member at the Geloja level. Hail! Hail! Thank you. Scottish Nerd for £1.49. Thank you again for the phallic unicorn. And thanks again, IK1906. Captain Spire for $10. I just watched a whole episode of Pinwheel before Nickelodeon came around. Then watched episodes of Homie the Clown. Days we could laugh and smile without being told. We're also supposed to feel bad. Oh, yeah, they're trying to tell us to feel bad. I heard what happened on Nickelodeon today. I don't know what good that does. But, let me ask you something. If you make a political statement and nobody watches it, did you actually make it? It's kind of like if a tree falls in the woods and nobody's there to watch it, did it actually happen? That's Nickelodeon right now. AKA Blonded for $5. Hi, Gary. Glad to catch up with you and everyone. I need a break from everything that's going on, and that's what we're going to provide from here on out. I will answer your questions, but we're going to talk about Release the Ayer cut. And, and the only reason I brought it up at all is because Hollywood hypocrisy, and I want to make it crystal clear, that's all I'm talking about. Okay? So by me being, which sucks, you got to say this because I know all you guys know this out there. By me being against bad robots, well, how do you put this? Not denouncing violence. The fact that I am calling them out for not denouncing violence. I'm not against a large portion of what they said because it's like being, I denounce murder. I denounce bad things. I am against bad things happening to people. I will continue to be against bad things. Yes, it's very obvious, dumb corporate statements that are meaningless, that don't really bring any change. And who knows if that $10 million, you know what? If Jar Jar really gave a shit, he would take his $10 million a year and not put it through a foundation. He would find individual people to help. And you know what? Take the time to do it. He's got all the time in the world. He's a very rich man. He'll say he's too busy, but you know what? Be the change you want to be. I am not rich at all. I gave some money with the help of you guys too. Thank you very much, to an individual comic shop. Okay. You can do that too. Is it better to give it to a foundation where you get trickle to a bunch of people, or is it better to find maybe the most affected black business by the violence that got hit hard and just give that guy $3 million? Give him $3 million and, change an individual's life. And then that helps his family, and maybe that, and next generation, it becomes a generational thing. I don't know. I'm just spitballing here. If you want to help. But just going, I'm going to have somebody else write a check I'm going to take all the credit, but he's doing none of the work. None of that work he's talking about. That is a bunch of shit. He's not going to write the check. He'll find, somebody will call him when the assistant pays it to the foundation. Was the payment made? Thank you very much. That's Jar Jar's effort in this. And he's telling us to do more. Get effed, dude. I try to do that shit all the time. And guess what? I did it unintentionally. When I hire people at my store, the last thing I thought about was what was in their pants or what was their pigment color was. I needed to know if they knew about comics and people would like them and they were friendly and they would be nice to hang out because I'd be spending a lot of time with them. So I got to like them. And I got lucky. I had a lot of people who were just like great people who worked at my store and helped my store be what it was. And it wouldn't be without them. And they just so happen to be all the colors of the rainbow and gay, straight, female, all that stuff. And a couple of times I found out later. So it didn't matter. It didn't come in conversation. That's the change you need to make, is just doing it. Not talking about it, blasting it everywhere. Hi, Gary. Glad to catch up with you and everyone. Oh, God, I read that. All right. AK Blonded. Yeah, it's positive change. Positive change comes when we do the little things in our life. Not blasting it out on the internet or changing your avatar. I mean, like, you got to say this shit repeated. I'm sorry. You guys know this. I know you guys know this. But there might be somebody across who goes, really? Oh, I thought I was supposed to take everything literally because my life is Twitter. I am off that platform at the end of the year. Countdown clock is on. Done. Thank you to everyone who's followed me. I appreciate it. Whether I keep it up to post videos beyond that, I don't know. I did a data check yesterday. And by the way, and it sucks because there's been a ton of positive interaction. And I love you guys. And it like 99% of it is. But it's freaking poisonous, man. It is poisonous. If I could, I generally don't even go to the home feature. I go straight to, I hit the notifications and I try to like and answer as much as I can. But yeah, it sucks. But so I did a little test yesterday of how it actually helps a video. So I used the Inquisition, which was one of our best shows. Again, Doomcock fucking brought it. The guy always does. It was a great show. Go check it out on Nerdrotic Live. And I posted it as unlisted for 9 hours. And I shared it on Twitter, my Facebook group, and the Facebook page. Facebook group has a couple thousand people. Facebook page has a couple thousand people. I have like 1,300 friends, and my Twitter has 19,000 followers. You know how many people watched the video? 122. 122 people out of potentially, we'll say, 30,000 people. 30,000 people getting shared that message via Twitter, Facebook, and 3 different aspects of Facebook. 122 views. That's, I don't care what your analytics say. I think that's a pretty rock solid test that confirms that the two platforms do not cross over in any way, shape, or form. It is completely useless for that. And I would like to focus on this platform. And I did way longer than my hour. I do an hour a day. I did way longer the other day, man. Eric Stoller for $5. That statement from Jar Jar made me throw up in my mouth a little bit. Pretentious, condescending bullshit. Yep. And there will be a person who hears part of this video and will comment, you are against the cause. No, I am not against the cause. Which I would have every right to be against it as an American, with a person with free will. I'm not. I am for it. This time. Any news on the magnet yet? Did you get the magnet? Tesseract, the magnet. By the way, sorry, Tesseract, I'll get right back to you. Eric Stellar, thank you very much for the $5. I appreciate you. I'm grateful for all of you. Thank you very much. Tesseract for 5 Canadian pesos says, any news on the magnet yet? Did you get a chance to see my vid? Hope you enjoy it. Here is $5 towards a dilithium crystal for your moving trip. God, I need it. On the magnet yet. I know that's probably something I should remember, and I don't, Tesseract. Please remind me in the chat, okay? I did not get a chance to see your video. I will see your video today, and I will post a comment, okay? I will post a comment for you. So hang on. Let me get my little piece of paper so I don't forget it. Hang on. I got to get my little pensy. Okay. Thank you. Thank you for the dilithium crystal for the moving trip. God damn, it is. I know I don't want to talk about it very much. I know you guys are getting bored of it. It really, really sucks. We are not in a position to do so. And I don't know how we're going to pull it off because we don't know. We don't know if, Mrs. Nerdrotic is not ready to pull the plug on her business just yet. She's put too much time into it and I don't want her to. So I think we'll probably have to be in a situation where we're going to move and go rent somewhere for a little while and see how we like the place and have to travel back and forth. It'll be a ton of travel, but if we did the math and the money we're saving by moving out of state, it would be, our traveling would be breaking even. It would just be a lot of time, but eventually we could move our operation somewhere else. Yeah. It's hard to think of on the fly. I don't have an answer. I just know I don't want to be here and wait for London Breed to unlock us down and then lock us down again in 2 months. Cause we all know that's coming unless in 14 days, and we'll give it 14 days. When did the hubbub all start? 5 days ago, 6 days ago. So again, the clock is ticking and honestly, I haven't checked. So there might've been a spike in numbers or maybe not. I don't know. Happy to see that Q are watching over us again from Mike. Oh yeah. He was never going to go away. He was just packed away for a minute while I was moving stuff around. He will always be there. And I have a 1/6 scale Q behind me. I don't know if you can see him though. Hang on. See him right there? He's right there. I'm going to bring him up a little bit. Oh, and ice cream cones. Yeah, that's going to be a thing. It's so funny. I am so glad I didn't cause this is my room, right? So the studio is, I have all these toys and everything, but I'm, of course, Mrs. Nerdrotic and I share a room because we're married, not to get too, but, she's a lady, who does hair. So she's a fashionista. So she has closets and closets and closets and closets of clothes, that she's accumulated over 20 years time. So my dresser is like right there. So yeah, I'll put my pants on and change my shirt. I'm just really glad that didn't happen. I would have been an extra show and it wouldn't have been pretty. Crazy Cat Guy, thank you for the ice cream. I appreciate it. Still gonna do a Song of Ice and Fire chapter videos. Love your work. Joe Voss for $1.99. Yes, now more than ever. And I want to apologize to Sporking News Podcast. I couldn't jump on. I had something happen last minute that I had to deal with. And I will jump on a week from this Monday. I will be on the Sporking News Podcast. They're doing a Song of Ice and Fire, like a book club thing. They're rereading. And they have invited me on. I don't want to interrupt their flow or anything, but I'm gonna jump on 2 weeks from this, a week from this coming Monday. I'll be on, and I'll let you all know. I have a chapter review done. It's on Patreon, but it's audio only. So when I attach some video to it, it will get released on Nerdrotic Live, and it's the prologue for a Game of Thrones. Eric K for $5 sent you a text, bud. Did not think you saw it, letting you know It was on. Glad to see you. You were you were not in the tidy whities. Yeah. Oh, I saw that. No, that's how I found out, Eric. I saw the text later. But I honestly, I was like, I got up. So I end my live streams and I get up and I go get a glass of water or whatever. And yeah, and I didn't even know it was still on. It was great. I should have just left it on. That would have been funny. It's going to happen again. It's going to happen again for sure. I am making fish tacos. Good stuff. Arthur P., we need some good news. I love fish tacos. Did you know that used to be a sticker of a place called Rubio's Fish Tacos down in San Diego? And saying that you love fish tacos has a double meaning. Believe it or not, it has a double meaning. Lord Thoth for Canadian 2 pesos, law enforcement law expert. Awesome. That's brilliant, Lord Thoth. Thank you. Yeah, I'm not an expert, but I've certainly had plenty of experience with law enforcement. Remember those cops who were arresting the people on the beach, which I'm against as well. You know, I'm against that too. That's tyranny too. See, another position you can hold at the same time. You can support peaceful protests for people wanting to go to work. And you can support peaceful protests for the injustice of what's happened to a community and being exemplified with what happened to George Floyd. And I will state, it doesn't matter. I mean, it sucks that he died. Okay. Period. It doesn't matter to me what he died of. It doesn't change the situation at all. For me personally. It doesn't change the situation at all. Somebody else died back in 2016 the same way. Y'all know that? Somebody else died, but it was a white guy. Not that makes a difference. But it does to some people. Smooth Jam California for $5. Found out today that Big Finish are doing an audio crossover with David Tennant and Tom Baker. It sounds awesome, but can't get excited. For it. Wonder why? Yeah, I wonder why you can't get excited for it. Are they doing that to, you want to translate something? Please come back and buy our stuff. We're sorry for alienating half of you for so long, and we are now suffering major consequences. By the way, folks, it's dire. Yes, they got bailed out by HBO Max, but as far as licensing and products are concerned, they are eating it right now. There was a statement from Doctor Who magazine asking people to buy physical copies if you still want your magazine around. Please buy physical copies. A lot of Doctor Who magazine, a big chunk of it sells here in America. Now, I don't know if we sell it I think we do. We have to because we're a bigger country. So Barnes & Noble is a retail outlet here. They sold Doctor Who magazine. Comic shops sell Doctor Who magazine. Newsstands, on occasion, depends on the place, sell Doctor Who magazine. Independent bookstores sell Doctor Who magazine. A lot of those places in the major urban areas are closed, and now some of them permanently because some people decided to burn those bookstores down. So now Doctor Who magazine can't sell here, basically. Not in the numbers they need it to, and it's desperate. And on top of that, interest was down prior to that happening. Wonder why? So Big Finish is desperate. Did you know they got rid of the monthly stories? They got rid of the monthly stories. They're changing their whole system because business is down. Because Smooth Jam California and yours truly and all of you out there who support Doctor Who aren't buying the stuff directly from them because I'm going to buy that adventure absolutely off eBay. I'll buy it off somebody off eBay. And right now, that's what I recommend you do. If you have money and you want to buy things and you want to support somebody, find somebody on eBay to support. Look into the person, and if there's somebody who had a shop burned down, or they just seem like a nice chap or lady that you want to support, instead of going to Amazon, go to eBay. 9 times out of 10, you'll get your thing faster because Amazon's they're prioritizing essential stuff. So collectible stuff has to wait. I've gone on to eBay and bought a few things, and I really looked for who I was going to buy from to help somebody. And that's a way to help. And then you get something back and you help somebody. And that's what I do with all of my Doctor Who stuff. I haven't stopped collecting Doctor Who. I just got a 5th Doctor and the 4th Doctor garb Comic-Con exclusive action figure because I didn't have that one on card. And I bought that from the UK. A J25 for $5.55. The chat trying to get Gary's attention, but during the chair stream, is this what the fandom zone feels like? That's exactly how it felt. Did you guys like my new chair, by the way? Did you like my new chair? It doesn't squeak. And wait, I can plug it in. Hang on. It's a boomer chair. It's such a boomer chair. Hang on. Let's see. Hopefully this doesn't jack anything up. You probably can't hear it. It vibrates. You probably can't hear it. Yes, it vibrates. It's very loud, though. That's why I'm not plugging it in now. I got a vibrator chair. I got to make sure of that. There we go. Yeah, I just, oh, what the hell? Did I just knock that over? Hang on. Sorry. There we go. How'd you like my ceiling? Was the ceiling good? I didn't realize. I just pulled that cord up. Yeah, take a look at my ceiling. Hang on. Let's go back up. Let's examine this. Ooh, this camera's hot. Yes, that is my ceiling. There's my light. There is angel puppet. There is there's a TARDIS. And yes, all the maps of Westeros, by the way. And then there are all my ships. There's a blank spot in the corner that does bother me. It's right over there. It bothers me a little bit. Hang on. I pulled my cord too far. That's going to suck. Hang on. The beaver. There we go. That's better. Got to show off the rack. Yes, my ceilings are covered with maps of Planetos. Nicholas Horton. Hail, Gary. Finally finished The Expanse. Good. Any news on the 5th season and what can we expect? Well, we're getting a 5th season. We are getting a 5th season of The Expanse, but they haven't filmed. I don't think they've filmed it yet. So everything's 2 years off. But the 5th book is the best book. So you are going to get a very good series of television. It might be the best of The Expanse. They should actually spread it out over 2 seasons because the book it's The Empire Strikes Back of The Expanse, by the way. Yes. Yes. I also have the TARDIS up there. Well, you can't really see it. The Doctor's wife TARDIS. That's what I see you chirping in there in the chat. That's what that is. What else? There's my Viper. There's my Cylon Raider. Guardians of the Galaxy. And that's from Smile Time. That's Angel Puppets. Which is the best episode of Angel, and it's written by Ben Edlin. I guess the only side you haven't seen is over there, which I can't really show. So not yet anyway. It's just a window, and I'm staring at the side of my neighbor's house. That's San Francisco living for you. That's San Francisco living for you. No as clown makeup yet, Gary. Andy Morley for £2. No, that is an as thing. That is an as thing. I don't know. See, what Az did on Friday night shows the genius of Az. I mean, that's a YouTuber. That is a performer. All right. You always got to look at things like, they weren't the best band in the world, but their philosophy towards entertainment was perfect, was KISS. Kiss with the makeup and the explosions, and people used to call it gaudy. And no, their whole attitude was people pay like their hard-earned money to come and see us. They don't want to see us in our like plain clothes with no lighting or no effects. They came to see a goddamn show. We're going to give them a show. That's Az's attitude. That's the attitude. That's my clown makeup is the room. This entire room was so you don't have to just stare at my mug the whole time. If I get boring, which I'm sure is a lot, you can like space out and start looking at the figures and stuff. And that's the philosophy I brought from my comic shop, which again was the KISS philosophy. If somebody is coming to my store and say they're coming from Walnut Creek, they're driving 30 miles and they don't buy anything, I want them to remember my store. I want them to make an impression. I can do it partially by being nice to them, welcoming in, no matter what. If they're wearing a Cyberfrog shirt, I will be nice to them. I don't care what they're wearing. I will go, welcome to this store. If you got any questions, just ask. And I want them to stay in the store as long as possible. How do I do that? You put as much as you can on every single wall that screams, not just says, not just insinuates, screams, this is a comic shop. This is a toy shop. This is a fun place. And it worked. So my comic shop looked like this, and people would stay in there for hours. They would like look at the comics, ask me questions. It would start conversations, and it was worth every second I put into hanging that shut up on the wall. It paid for itself 1,000 times. And then, I walk into comic stores, and I don't mean to be too judgmental. I see some of the free posters that Diamond gives them with creases in them in the windows, on the walls, and there's like big blank white spaces. It's like, man or woman, you own a comic book store. There should be murals and posters and professional looking posters and frame, like cover every inch of it. It doesn't need to look pretty. Actually, it looks worse when it looks perfect. I don't like it perfect and pristine, as you can tell. It's got to look patchwork, genuine, and I think that's the best formula. I could be wrong, but it worked for me. Hail, Gary. Finally, I read that one. I shaved my head and I'm talking complete baldness. It was either that or fall off the wagon. Now I look like a testicle. You look like a testicle, says Stabson's Gold for £5. Well, I'm sorry. Don't fall off the wagon. If you got to shave your head to do it, do whatever it takes to not fall off the wagon. Okay. It sucks you couldn't get a haircut. One day at a time. Lord Thoth for 2 Canadian pesos. Blake 7, don't watch the last episode. Well, why not? I'm going to watch the last episode. Is it bad? Is it bad? Well, I know they as long as Avon's in it, I'm fine. I'm good. I got 1 episode to go in the first season. Then I'll do a review. Hope you and your family are safe from these riots. Makes me grateful that I'm in the cold version of Mexico. Says Ultra Raider 52 for $6.99 Canadian. Okay, not to minimize them at all. Okay, they are bad. They're terrible. They are all over the country, but they are not most of the country. The vast, 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 vast majority of the country is not rioting, is not burning, is either locked down or they're going to work. There are water parks open across the country. There are people going on vacation right now. The mail just got delivered to my house by the mailman. I just took a walk. As a matter of fact, I've shot 2 videos. I'll put them together on Twitter to be counter programming for CNN of me taking a walk in a neighborhood where a mom and a daughter walk out of a laundromat and there is a couple of auto shops open, and I wave to one of them and I wave to a nice guy taking a walk with me. We cross the other way where I'll, what's up, buddy? And yeah, normalcy. The gas station was open. Traffic lights were working. The buses were running on time. Bart, by the way, Bart and the buses have been running this whole time during this lockdown in San Francisco. The whole time. So, yeah, normalcy. Shops are open. More shops are opening every day. Just not salons. So normalcy, the vast majority, if you look on a map and you look at all the places where there is something going down, it's still a tiny spots of the country. The media is making it look like the entire country is on fire, which it isn't. But it's in their best interest to keep you scared, to keep you on edge, to make you uncomfortable and keep you in fear so you buy product. So you consume product. And Jar Jar Abrams and Bad Robot played into that. Lucasfilm played into that. Sony played into that. They want your kids scared. They want your effing kids scared. And yes, again, you can have two thoughts at one time in your head. You can be against violence and against cops killing people, killing black men. Specifically. And killing men. Cops killing men. Let's keep that in mind too. So, are there things we need to work on? Absolutely. And we need to continue doing it. And this needs to be a wake-up call, in a sense, to get on it. And the problem is it's being put on us. It's being put on us, the public, when largely we're trying to do this. There's a lot of broad generalizations being brought against the middle class. And I'm not going to signify that with a color because it's just the middle class. That they're just getting flat wrong. Sorry. There's a lot of our leaders and our institutions have failed us completely. We can all agree on that. Including Hollywood. The disingenuous a-holes. And the more I think about it, the more I get mad. So I'm just going to go on to the chat now. Two of my best friends are about to propose, and I've been asked to be the groomsman for both. Just sharing a positive among all the negative right now. Thank you, Mr. Insanity. Congratulations. That is brilliant. Hopefully you said yes. What can I share that's positive right now? It's a beautiful day. I just took a walk. I might take another one later because it's such a beautiful day outside. My kid is happy. My kid, thankfully, isn't scared. He asked a lot of questions that I had to answer as honestly as possible. I told him, but if I didn't think my city was safe to be in right now, my family wouldn't be here. I would send them packing immediately. I'm not leaving this place. I'm not going to abandon this place just yet. But yeah, they're here. My family's here. We're not leaving. Mrs. Nerdrotic is doing, she's doing something that I can't really say, but yeah, she's doing something. Colton back for $4.99. This is why I love living in Alaska. Not enough people to form a riot and everything is packing heat and everyone is packing heat. Yep. No, I'm done living in urban areas. And it's because of the politics of those urban areas, not the people. I generally don't have a problem with the people, except for the people who riot and destroy things. I have a definite problem with them. Lady Greymaster for $10, starting a GoFundMe for a small biz that were vandalized and looted during the riots. Hollywood elites have donated $20 million to bail out rioters, but zero to small business owners. Goal will be $25 million to determine Well, are you starting it, Lady Greymaster? I would just say listen, I've been wondering about that, and I know you know what you're doing. Just be careful with that. Okay. Be very, very careful. But yeah, I'll look into it, and we gotta, that sounds like good on you. But yeah, well, we could talk about it. We could definitely talk about it. I'm for something going to small business owners. It's too bad Hollywood isn't donating $10 million to the damage, seeing that some of the people damaged, or some of the shops damaged, were selling their products. So, yeah, F Hollywood for that. And good for you, Lady Greymaster. I'm just cautioning, be careful with something like that. Mark C. for $10. We have been besieged with hate and anger for the last 4 years for our entertainment and media. Add 2.5 months of quarantine and police causing the death on camera, and this is what you get. Yep. It was a recipe for disaster. And if you look at the areas where most of the violence happened, let's be real, people have been bussed in. That's a fact, by the way. So yeah, it was a recipe for disaster. Thank you, Lady Gravemaster, for $2. Gary the Wise. I try to be. I'm just old. I've seen a couple things. I learned a couple lessons, but not all. I still got a lot of learning to do. Mark C., you're absolutely right, my friend. This was a recipe for disaster. Gary, I'm sorry to hear about the restrictions in San Francisco being extended. I grew up in San Diego and just moved to Tahoe area. I feel like there's some of the only decent places left in the state. It's sad. SD Bentley Tahoe's brilliant. They opened things up there too, right? Yeah, and you're right next to, you're close to Carson. There was a couple of comic shops in Carson, California, just down the hill, down the mountain. Yeah, I like Tahoe too. It's expensive. And it's still in California. Eric K. Gary, everything is not about the D. Everything is what? Eric K. Eric K. just said everything is not about the D. I don't know about that. No, of course it's not. John Barella for $5. Thanks for reviving my forgotten interest in comics. I've rediscovered Dead World Archives and Superman Red Sun. Listen as often as I can. Thank you, John. I appreciate it. Yes, Superman Red Sun. Brilliant. And all the talk of comics and doing the bagging and boarding with as reignited mine as well. So real quick, because it's in the title, sometimes I don't get to what's in the title. Let's briefly go over. The comic shops that got banned, or does Bounding into Comics have that? If they have it, I'd much rather go to them. Give me un momento. Wow. Image Comics founder Eric K. Larson defends Antifa. Of course. Dude is in Portland. He's part of the Portland Mafia. Is it true that the entire game leaked of The Last of Us Part 2? That's hilarious. That is so funny. Did you not write an article on this? Okay, here we go. We got it right here. I didn't want to go to Bleeding Cool. I'd rather support Bounding into Comics. There we go. Okay. Comic shops show support for Fight for Justice after stores are vandalized. 2 comic book stores expressed their solidarity for justice after the stores were vandalized amidst riots that broke out in multiple U.S. cities across the weekend. Vault of Midnight, Grand Rapids, Michigan, expressed their support for Fight for Justice after the store was vandalized on May 31st. Vault of Midnight, Grand Rapids posted a Facebook that their store was damaged following the protests. And I like the blue of their store. That's a cool looking building. They wrote, last night, Vault of Midnight Grand Rapids was one of the businesses damaged after the protest downtown. Their statement continued, we're making quick work to repair the space, which, with the help of our amazing staff and equally amazing volunteers, after reporting their business was damaged, they were working on repairing it, expressed support for their community's fight for justice. They wrote, we love and respect our community and stand with them for their ongoing fight for justice. We hope that you'll join us in activity caring for and supporting our friends, neighbors, and fellow humans who fight every day to make their voices heard. Thank you sincerely to everyone. Yeah, people are just scared to death to call out the violence. I mean, this is the freaking poisonous culture that Twitter is in particular. Facebook does it as well. I always tell that. Well, let's get to Golden Apple, and I'll tell you. Vault of Midnight Grand Rapids was not the only comic shop to be vandalized and then express solidarity for the cause and justice. Golden Apple Comics in Los Angeles, California, reported they boarded up their store after its windows were destroyed by an angry mob and its store was looted. It was posted on Facebook that this is the current state of Golden Apple, boarded up for two reasons. First, to cover up broken windows that were destroyed by an angry mob last night on Melrose, and also to protect against future attempts. Then they added, for the record, we support the cause and justice needs to be had, but we do not endorse the acts of vandalism, theft, arson, and violence. That's my boy Ryan right there. That's my boy Ryan. That's what we need to fucking hear. Ryan's got a sack. That's why he says that. He doesn't bend the knee to that bullshit. So hail Ryan Leibowitz. Oh my God, dude, I'm going to go down and spend some cheddar in your store, Ryan. You got me coming down there. When you have that block party, I'll fucking be there, buddy. The statement reads, we're supposed to have a soft opening Monday for the first time in over 2 months and rejuvenate our small business post-COVID. This is just another setback that we'll overcome. We have served this community for over 40 years and plan to be around as long as people want to buy comics and collectibles. The Melrose and Fairfax shop districts will be rebuilt and reopened in the near future, and we plan to be a part of the biggest block party in years. See, that attitude I like. Ryan's a winner. Unfortunately, that happened to him. But other shops have not been so lucky, folks. Now we got to get over to Bleeding Cool, unfortunately. God, I hate this website. I really do. Oh, I don't. Oh, wow. Oh, what does that say? Justice. You're going to like this. Hang on, folks. I got to find both articles. I shouldn't laugh. It's terrible. I'm a terrible human being for laughing. I am. I got to get right to it. Oh my God. Remember the guy who threatened Ethan? Atomic Power Bottom Comics or whatever it was. Atomic Bottom. It's pretty great how aiming a Glock can make a crowd disperse and turn tail pretty quickly. It worked well last night. Tonight is round 2. Those are all those people you support, and you aimed a Glock at them? Mike Wellman, you aimed a Glock at those people? It's a problematic look. Dude is unhinged. I'm surprised he didn't shoot anybody. Okay, so we got 8 comic stores hit by looting across the USA. And then we got Golden Apple Comics, High Comics of Los Angeles. I've never heard of that one. Neighboring LA store, High Comic, also reporting, oh my God. Yeah, I hate stores that open up right next to other comic stores. They try to glom off customers. Japan, LA was damaged. Ooh, badly. Graham Cracker Comics. Now, this is a famous comic store, folks. This is a famous comic store. And, yeah. Now, apparently, one of them had a podcast going on. Challengers, Comics, and Conversation of Chicago, Illinois. That's a little too much to say. Is that the one that had the podcast? Yeah, well, as they were recording a podcast, I wonder if I can... Oh, yeah. There it is right there. Bunch of little shoppers ripping them all off. All those comics being stolen. Justice for George Floyd. Justice for George Floyd. I feel the justice. Do you feel the justice? I do. Top Cut Comics. I hope they didn't steal my idea. Or my wife, well, mine and Melissa's idea, but they didn't. Well, I mean, like, you can't steal an idea if you haven't heard it. But we're going to do haircuts. We're going to have a barbershop in there too. Dream Heaven Books and Comics. Yeah, that's the one that had, they boarded up. I showed you the other day and they boarded it up and said, with great power comes great responsibility. And this is Crazy Fred's in San Diego. And I tweeted about this, and this is what I wanted to read you. Here is those unintended consequences that Jar Jar Abrams has most definitely signed off on by not denouncing violence by people who don't support the cause. How hard is that to say? See, it was that easy. I denounce violence by people who do not support the cause, because if you commit violence, you could not be supporting the cause of George Floyd. A comic book store runs on a pretty slim profit margin already. With this on top of COVID, I don't know if we're coming back from it. Right now, it seems impossible, but we'll see. We'll see. That doesn't sound good. I wish them all the luck in the world. And by the way, I will say it again. If you think these things aren't coordinated, they rioted in La Mesa, California. That is not a rich town. It's not a poor town. It's no offense to anybody who lives there, it's a nothing town. It's in San Diego. It's nice. It's when you're 25 and you want to go live, you have your first place when you are, or maybe however old you are when you move out of your parents' house, when you want to go have your first apartment. La Mesa is where you go. La Mesa is where it's got decent rents and the apartments are pretty clean, but it's not considered a posh area of San Diego. It's just in between a bunch of freeways. It's where you go to work at, just think any what retail locations are left at, at a hardware store or something, or at a comic store. La Mesa is where you put a comic store. 4 more are down. Monument Circle, Downtown Comics on Monument Circle, has been damaged. I don't know what that's crossed out. So Uncle Hugo's Science Fiction Books and Uncle Edgar's Mystery Bookstores in Minneapolis, Minnesota. And then Atomic Basement. So a lot of shops have been hit So that's 12 that we know of. That's 12 that we know of. Amidst all this, they don't need this crap. No business owner needs this crap at all. It's hard enough. It's also one of the most rewarding things you can do is own your own business. If you get a chance to do it, I highly recommend it. Again, when I open my shop, it will be brick and mortar and it will not be in an urban area. So yeah, I don't know how well that's going to do for me, but I'm not going to even risk the potential. Not. Also, invest in a cage. None of those places had these. I had this iron bar thing that you pull over your window. It cost a fortune, but it was worth every penny because having security is pointless. So having an alarm is pointless. That's just somebody who's going to tell you your shit's being stolen. You put something in front of those windows. Because like the other option is, 1/4-inch glass. That's crazy expensive. You just put bars over your windows and it doesn't stop it, but it deters. It deters. It kept my place from being broken into because like where my shop was, it was in a quiet part of San Francisco. So it'd be really easy to go and bash out the window, take what you want, leave, and nobody would show up. It would take 10 minutes for a cop to show up. It just wouldn't happen. All right. Okay. Release the Ayer cut. I just wanted to talk about this. This is something I can get behind. This is something I can absolutely get behind. I would much more rather see a Ayer version of Suicide Squad than Justice League, to be honest with you, because I think Suicide Squad had the potential of being like the first great DCEU movie. Now, do I think it's great? Probably not, but I bet you it's a lot better. And I mean a lot better. Considering what they took out. And yeah, like I said, I like the first 15 minutes of Suicide Squad. I like the tone of it. I like some of the performances. It just went off the rails and got freaking silly because they were fighting a giant beam shooting up in the sky at the end. It was dumb, but there was something about it that like, there was a good roadmap in there. There was, and it was kind of taking a flyer from Guardians, but making it less goofy. I don't know. There's something about it that felt comic book to me. I could be wrong, but I'd be way more into that. And if we get more of that, great. I think more is always enough. And if it derails Jar Jar Abrams going to the DCEU and and sorry folks, the Matt Reeves Batman looks like it's going to be woke Batman. It's going to be skinny Batman. Do you want to see skinny Batman? Listen to Robert Pattinson's voice. Does he sound like Batman to you? Does that sound like Batman? You think, you hear Kevin Conroy, that's Batman. Ben Affleck looked like Batman. I don't know. I'll talk about it more on the next Nooner. I got some tweets I actually collected that I liked. I know some of our friends on Twitter, like the president, Abu Nas, who is absolutely for the Snyder Cut, and I back him for that. Fatal J, and I do want to plug the Dark Council's going to be on the High Council tonight. So you might want to tune in. That's going to be on World Class Bullshitters channel. Bullshitters? The Bullshitters, man. So there you go. I believe that's, what time is that? 6 Pacific? Does it say right there? So that's today, later. Okay. So go check it out. There's their plug. It's taken me a long time, by the way, because it was way more work than I thought it would be. But the Super Chat Square Up will be tomorrow morning for last week's mystery, for the mystery Nooners that disappeared due to YouTube's weirdness. I found all the Super Chats. They're all there. There's a lot of them, and there's ones I didn't even see. So they're all going to get addressed one by one. I'm recording it so they get their ample time, and it'll be out on Nerdrotic Live tomorrow morning. This live stream will be on Nerdrotic Live in a couple hours. G Spectre for $10. When certain groups respond with violence, why are they surprised when they are treated as a violent group? Maybe if they stop with the violence, they might just change the stereotype. I listen, when it comes to the violence in this situation, GP Spectre, it is clearly, in my opinion, spurned on by Antifa or somebody saying they're Antifa, paying people. And I see a lot of white people breaking shit. As a matter of fact, it's been majority in, it's been the majority in some cases. So I'm not going to go with specific groups of people as far as how people look. I will go with political groups that are out there that I believe are spurning this on, that aren't one color and that's what I'm seeing. I'm seeing a lot of different people. I see a lot of female representation going on with the writing. So we've got that. We've moved ahead with that. That's great. I saw one woman bashing in a business with a lead pipe, and apparently that was handed to her with $200. Now, I read that on Twitter, so I'm not going to state that as a fact. That was Twitter. It could have been bullshit, just like the statement that, and I don't know, Antifa said they were going to come in the neighborhoods, but then somebody said that was fake, and it was faked by some other group that's just as bad. I don't know that's why we don't take what, we see on Twitter at face value. That's all. Unless it's like rock solid video. I saw a protester protecting a business at Santa Monica. I thought that was great. Multiple protesters. And it was a woman, and these two guys who towered over her were trying to bash in the doors with skateboards, and she stood in front of them and they took off because they're the bitches. Those two guys were the bitches. And that's it. I was on holiday in Scotland and remember the last episode of Blake 7. Still traumatized to this day, and I'm 42. Wow, is it trauma? Does it bring trauma? Do they kill everybody? Is it like Red Wedding? The Beatser 1977 for £5. Thank you. The Thing, that's my secret. I always rock hard. Automata for $2. I got you. He's talking about The Thing's dong. Gary, everything is not about the D. Yeah, I remember Eric K. Thanks for, and I read that one. Let's go. 13th Warrior for $2. White Comfort. Is that code for Southern Comfort? It might be. It might be. Everybody take a drink. If Hollywood wants to make a pledge, I'd see no more minimizing minority or LGBT roles for Chinese markets. Absolutely. No more shrinking our black character on a poster for the Chinese market. Oh, and I did forget to bring that up. There's so much hypocrisy with Bad Robot. Of course, they were complicit with Lucasfilm shrinking Finn on the poster, and that's not the only thing. And yes, they minimize. Well, they also, they treat them like infants, like they're purse puppies, and it's disgusting. One article, I did the video on it, wanted to equate Picard's dog wanted to use that as an allegory for a marginalized group, a dog. You're calling groups of people, you're relating them to a dog. That is foul. That is absolutely foul. Hashtag Occupy Abrams lawn. Yes. He lived. God damn. I was tempted. Man, right when I saw that tweet, I went right to where the picture of his house, how much money he makes, and I could have blasted it right next to it but you know what? I got to practice these principles in all my affairs, and I just didn't. So Bezos doesn't have enough money, says No, he has all the money. He has all the money. Flicks by Cody. GP Spectre, amazing how many whined about there being too few women in Hollywood. Now that there are more than before, women now seem to want to take over and not work with others. They're hurting their own cause. No, they want it to be a matriarchy. They don't want it to be egalitarian. Some do, not all. And that's also bullshit. They're going to move on from that cause pretty soon too. And thank you very much, G Spectre, for $10. Modalicious for $5. Changing tax policy, meaning like communism? Marx was economically illiterate. A flat tax for consumption tax would be great instead of what we have. Yep. An absolute flat tax. Yes, I agree with that. Or no tax. There used to be no tax. You pay taxes on stuff you bought, and that's it. Mark C for $20. I'm claiming the Fandom Menace as an anti-racist fan group. How much will it take for your move to be easy? Leaving San Francisco, you are moving to a less privileged area. I'll be the richest free ride Uber driver ever. Well, thank you, Mark C. Yes, it is a very privileged city where Nancy Pelosi lives, and lots of Mark Zuckerberg has 6 houses in the Mission District, mile and a half from me right now. Very privileged. And I don't feel like I live in Beverly Hills because I don't. Where I live used to be the hood. And it's nice now. It's nice. Back to work. Hail chat. Thanks, Gary. Well, thank you, Chris Stanley, for $5. Thank you. Hiroshi Score for 50 Mexican dollars. Long time no see. The situation, I got you, man. But I'm back and happy to see that you're still truthful and passionate. Keep up the good work. 60 frames per second looks great. Oh my God, somebody noticed. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. Oops, I hit the one ring. The ring. Christopher Betty for $5. Beatty. It's sort of like the era of the end of silent movie stars. Once people heard them actually speak, they lost their fan bases. Yep. And that's what we're seeing right now. Oh, that is great. I'm going to use that, Christopher, and I will give you credit. That is a great analogy. Shane O'Reilly for a phallic $1.49 unicorn. Thank you. Chris Holmes for £2. Love your passion. Thank you very much. Thank you. I'm a passionate soul. But I love you guys and thanks for listening and understanding that, we do our part here in the Fandom Menace, and we call out this shit. We call it out a lot. Some might think too much, and that's that's great. We all need to keep that in mind moving ahead. I will do my very best to keep it to, the power movers like Jar Jar Abrams and stuff, and not make it about individuals who work on the films or anything like that. That's not my thing at all. And keeping it to bringing back unity. That's it. I don't want an orange man centric, male centric Star Trek. I'm a Star Trek fan. I want Star Trek. And if it's a black female captain, great. Write a good show. That's all. Write a good show. And if it's not good, I'm going to criticize it, whether it stars a white dude or a black female. And nobody's going to tell you or I what we can or cannot criticize. That's it. Blake 7 is great. Old BBC, great. New BBC sucks, says Richard Cotton for £2. It does. And they're desperate. I've got a Doctor Who video coming out, and the Star Trek Picard review. I think we can have it in a week. I got to admit, I got distracted with all the crap going on. I got distracted, and we were supposed to go out of town, and it looks like we're going to have to call that off now, which sucks. But yeah, I'll get it done. Hollywood won't notice the tree fall in the forest unless it preceded by 20 minutes of manic action sequences, lens flares, and virtue signaling. Right, crazy cat guy? And that guy's telling us how to live. The guy who can't string together a movie when he's given all the money in the world. I'm hugging my 120 plus long boxes of comics Golden Age. Whoa. 120 long boxes of Golden Age comics? Jesus Christ, that's all of it. Lord Thoth. That's beautiful. Infected Goat 666 for $20. Hail, Gary. I was an indie filmmaker for 20 years and I worked at Trauma. Oh, sweet. For 10 years. And they let me go because there is just no money anywhere for indies. What do us old screenwriters, directors do? Thanks. Hail the Fandom Minutes. Infected Goat 666. YouTube channel. Oh my God, YouTube channel. Start a platform, man. And dude, every 10 minutes, tell people you used to work for Trauma. They need to know that. So because that's legit. James Gunn came from there. Okay. You have the talent. You can write, produce content on YouTube. And that's how you make your money. It cuts out the middlemen. It's going to take time. You gotta sell your wares. But if you make your own stuff here, it's better than nothing. And you can work from home and it's cheaper. Yeah. I mean, YouTube, start videos, tell stories behind the scenes at Trauma, behind the scenes from a filmmaker. You know what? Comment on what's going on right now in Hollywood with your experience. People need to hear that. Culture Casino for $5. Nerdrotic. The Quartering just dropped a short, funny video mocking Brand and their hypocritical virtue signaling. I will watch it. I'm probably going to do a video on all this. It probably is a bad idea, like a horribly bad idea, but I'm going to try to just point out that this is everything we were fighting against. And we're seeing the consequences and not, of course, George Floyd. It's the violence that's needless right now. Absolutely unnecessary. And of course, there are multiple factors in this, but a major one was the mainstream media in Hollywood not letting it go. Just pressing and pressing every single day, every chance they got, every time they wanted to make, and that was their attitude. And that it came out in that statement with Bad Robot. They don't want you to be comfortable. In your escapism, in your Star Wars, they want to teach you a lesson. They know better than you. Little pleb, you're too comfortable in your life where you sometimes have to work 2 jobs to feed your kids, and you take 2 or 3 hours out of your entire day to sit down and enjoy a Star Wars movie, and we don't want you to be comfortable. Get fucked, Hollywood. Get fucked. Consider Knoxville, Tennessee right now. Tennessee is on the upswing for the beer bug cases, but that will pass soon. Knoxville is awesome. The cost of living is amazing. Also, no state income tax. Ooh, that's good. Admin Grumpy Bear, thank you for the $20. I do like that. Again, has anybody heard about Minnesota in particular? Minneapolis? Cases should be spiking like crazy. And if they are, they are. Okay. And if I can get that from a legitimate news source, I'll believe it. But if they aren't, then it's time to get back to work. Period. I just hope Snyder stops killing off DC supporting heroes as he did with Jimmy Olsen, Robin, others. It is too late to get Nick Cage Superman on HBO. Yes. No, pepper and oil capsule for $5. No, he was going to kill Batman. I guess the DCEU was just going to take place. I guess they wanted to just catch up to Marvel and then tell prequels. I don't know what their plan was. What was your plan? That's a ridiculous plan. Yeah, I hated what they did to Jimmy. I hated Flash, Ezra. They were going to kill Batman in Justice League, by the way, which I hate. Thanatos Felicitas. Thanatos Felicitas for $5. The burning comic shop reminds me of the burning of the libraries of Alexandria. It was one of the wonders of the ancient world. Yep, that was one of the biggest tragedies of the ancient world. The answers were there of our previous civilization. Hail, Gary. Hope you and yours are staying safe from all the ridiculousness going on. They are. We are. Well, we are carrying on with life. We are keeping our heads on a swivel. Okay, we are. Son of a wolf, but we're fine. Talons of Wang Chang for $4.99. Do the maps on your ceiling show where Danny forgot about the Iron Fleet? Yes. Well, let me see. King's Landing. Okay, I'm going to show you where Danny forgot about the Iron Fleet. It was on our way back to Dragonstone, right? So there's King's Landing. Hang on. I got to see this, though. So, there's King's Landing right there. Danny forgot about the Iron Fleet. Here, let's go. I can't reach that far. Dude, it is really hard to do this. This is way too fucking hard. Here we go. Right there. Oh, you can't see it. Dude, this takes way too much concentration. Right there. See at the corner? Ooh. Right there. That's where she forgot about the Iron Fleet. That took way too much concentration. So it's backwards for me. So I had to figure out, like, what the hell direction do I need to take my hand? So that was way too much work to show where Danny forgot about the Iron Fleet. Just kidding, mate. I always loved your room. It's quality. Thank you. No, I'm going to mark it on my map. Danny forgot about the Iron Fleet here. This is where Game of Thrones died before that. I know some people were like, they took a couple more episodes, but the minute Arya killed the Night King, it was over. It died. It was dumb. That was stupid. Everything about that was dumb. Arya, I'm going to trigger people again. Arya was a Mary Sue as hell. They Mary Sued the hell out of Arya. Arya was a Mary Sue. Hashtag Arya was a Mary Sue in that scene. She wasn't for 4 seasons, and then she became one. She all of a sudden just got powers and became Batman. Because she got stabbed in the stomach and she fought a girl with a stick. And then she can kill an entire house of men. Those same men that killed her brother, her mom, and okay, what happened to John Umber? Is he still in a cell somewhere? I mean, they forgot about him. Hail, Gary. Stupid questions. When does something cross the line into wokeness for you? What is your favorite Golden Age comic? Says Q for $5. My favorite Golden Age comic? That's not Batman and Superman. I have some Golden Age Captain America. Yeah, it's just Superman. It's the Golden Age Superman comics are brilliant. I've got omnibuses. I don't own any Golden Age Superman comics. I'd love to, but those are I was a Marvel guy my entire life, so I've only recently in the last 7 or 8 years shifted over to DC. I had some DC Silver Age, but not a lot, and I have no DC Golden Age other than Batman #1. I own Batman #1, but by the way, it's not even in my house. Okay. It's in a safe deposit box. And that's the only one I own. But Superman, I own the omnibuses. They're great. They're fantastic. And I have my kid read them. Now, when does something cross into woke for me? Well, it depends on the situation. When you can tell it's woke for woke's sake. And you could pretty much tell from the get-go. For example, Legion. Legion seasons 1 and 2 were normal shows. Absolutely fine. It had a narrative. Then it decided to go woke. and it needed a female lead, so it put a character in, which all the focus went to, and within the first 15 minutes of the episode, they had to mention that another random character just walks up to one and says, "I've been penis-free for 25 years." That's when something crosses into woke. Now, that's more intersectional feminism than actual woke. But yeah, that's it. When it prioritizes the message over the story, and that message is partisan, and it's cringe-worthy partisan, and you could tell it was pulled from a headline within the last 6 months. But what's a great example of woke? Star Trek Discovery. That's woke. Watchmen, woke. Westworld Season 2, woke. Westworld is probably the best example of it. Is one of the... Picard, woke. Absolutely woke. 1000% woke. And bad. And usually what goes with woke, though, is bad writing. Because you can make something that has a positive message or a message that you might not agree with, and you're seeing the other side through a story. Everything can be solved with good writing. Thank you, Q, for $5. Michael Billington for 20 pounds. Hey, Gary, I was glad to see that you're planning on watching Series 1 of Red Dwarf. As a lifelong fan, I would recommend you also at least watch Series 6. In my opinion, it's the best. Pure distilled dwarf. Stay safe. Thank you. Yeah, I'm not going to watch all 36 seasons. not now, but I'm definitely going to watch one. I'm going to watch one, and I'll try to stick with it through 6. So it took me forever to get through Farscape, but once I did, I loved it. So thank you. Little Steve for 5 pounds. Gary, I can't wait for you to open your new store. I want to buy something from it. No idea what, just something. Thank you, Little Steve. I appreciate that. I can't wait either. The sad thing is, is, I know this YouTube thing won't last forever. And I would just stick with this if I thought it would last forever. But I think they can both work. But I'll be live streaming every day, but I don't know if I'm going to make as many videos as I did in the past. It depends if we get somebody right away to help me. But yeah, moving was not in the plans right now, but it's going to have to happen. Vince Hickey for Australian $14.99. Did you get time to watch the Best Jim Garrison documentary I emailed you a while ago? I was hoping you might use it for an episode of the Exozone sometime. We will be using for an episode of the Exozone. We had to cancel last Thursday's Exozone for reasons. So we will, Vince. And thank you for emailing me. I appreciate it. And thank you for the $14.99. As a matter of fact, the next episode. Okay, we'll talk about it. Eric K for $2. Remember, remain calm. All is well. Yeah, it is. Look outside your window. I mean, like some people are in unsafe areas, and by all means, if you don't feel safe, get out, please. But, and go somewhere if you can. Some people can't. Yeah. But a lot of you are in safe areas that aren't looting and rioting. And a lot of you are in areas where people are peacefully protesting, which is fine. I would just like to see a consistency of argument. Again, peaceful protests of any kind should be allowed to happen. Period. That includes wanting to go back to work, which might have solved this problem before it began, and justice for a man who was killed when he should not have been killed or even detained in that way. Period. I will echo it with what Crowder said. He should have been issued a citation and sent on his merry way. That should have never fucking happened. So that's the cops being cooped up too. The critical drinker just put out a tweet you'll like. I will check it out. The Fixer one for £2. Let's see if I can get right to it. Oh, this was 13 hours ago. I don't know about what here. Let's see if he just put out a tweet. So is it the one he put up 13 hours ago? He says, F off, J.J. Abrams, as if people need some talentless, overrated, multimillionaire Hollywood bullshit artist to lecture them on how they need to do better. Yes. Oh, yes. The reason I did not tweet it, folks, is I do not, if I feel like I've got a video on something, I generally keep it to this platform. So that will be my next video. Yes, I always agree with the critical drinker. I love him. Ever notice that every city that has a looting and riots have Democratic mayors? Yep, everybody notices that, Mark. You're absolutely right. Democratic mayors, and the Minneapolis mayor should resign. Flat out resign. Swinging cod for $10. Been thinking about home protection. You need the G. Gordon Liddy approach. Liddy couldn't own guns after Watergate, but Mrs. Liddy owned a veritable arsenal. Something to think on. Swinging cod for $10. We are most definitely thinking on that. Was watching up at double speed when you ate ice cream. Nice. Peppermint oil capsule for £2. Awesome. Sarah B for $5. Hail, Gary. You mean you don't want to see Bruce Wayne and his alter ego Soy Man? No, I don't. No bats were misrepresented in the making of this movie. Sarah B, I don't want to see Bruce Wayne and Soy Man. I don't. Yes, you did, Captain Spire. I have it. So Captain Spire emailed me a Search for Spock script, the original one, and I appreciate that. I mentioned it in a many moons ago in a toxic mailbag. Thank you, Captain Spire. I appreciate it. It is with my other scripts. Drew's, I don't know if he does it anymore, but Drew's Scriptorama. It's an old site that I used to go to many, many moons ago. You used to be able to print out the script. So that's where I got the original Star Wars script. I got James Cameron Spider-Man script, all the scripts that you heard about. Then the internet. That was like one of the coolest things, is like all those mythical scripts you heard about that you had to go to cons to buy. All of a sudden you had access to it thanks to Drew's Scriptorama. Hail, Gary, have you ever thought about writing your own comic book? Christine Venner for £5. Ethan asked me that. I have. I've actually written my own comic book. I've written a couple comic books, and you will never, ever, ever see them. They're terrible. Well, one of them has great potential, but it needs a good artist. I am thinking about it when I open the shop. I am thinking about it, but it would just be, honestly, it would be me writing out a story and then somebody else writing it and drawing it. So, maybe I'll polish up some dialogue or something like that, but it'd have to be good. I mean, come on, the Comicsgate guys are putting out like freaking, despite what, everybody's got haters. I got haters, whatever. Despite what some of the people, the critics say, the books are pretty high quality. By the way, your boy Zach is going to be on Friday Night Tights this Friday. Boom. Your boy Zach from Comics That Matter, Friday Night Tights. Tune in. Yes, Christine, I will. Somebody reached out to me for the possibility of, we'll call it a sponsor. And I emailed the person back, said I was interested. And then the beer bug happened and I completely forgot about it. And now, and honestly, I'm not that into to sponsors. I'm not against it. I need to use it. I'm not going to sponsor something I don't like, some game. I will never use one of those. Like if it's something I use, so like Audible, which said yes to me, and then we never heard from them again because of the beer bug. So maybe I'm not big enough for them. I don't know. But this other place reached out to me, and I'm thinking about saying yes and doing something just because we need to kind of fast forward the shop thing. So, okay, Gary, here we go. There's my answer right now. But Christine, thank you for the question. And yes, it's going to happen. Yes, eventually. Gary, daily cases in Minnesota are down 63% from a week ago. Really? And this is a Klein dropper for $5. Thank you very much. We'll see where it goes after our lovely little peaceful protest this past weekend. Have things calmed down in Minneapolis, or are they still going? Inquisitor B312 for $5. I have read and love the Perez and Rucka runs of Wonder Woman. Yes. Are they any other runs that you might recommend, or comics more set in mythology in general? Well, Inquisitor, I mean, it's not mythology per se, but it's if you're looking for something kind of fun and fantasy based, Hellboy. If you haven't read Hellboy, Hellboy's awesome. If you liked Wonder Woman, there are some older Thor runs. I mean, if you can get your hands on Kirby's older Thor runs, I mean, that is all mythology based. Then check out Kirby's Fourth World or The New Gods. That's good. That's old good stuff. If you want to get newer stuff, again, this is more fantasy based than mythology based. Look for cross-gen, like Sojourn and stuff. That's fun stuff. Mythology based. Elric is like, I just picked that stuff. It's freaking brilliant. Now it's not mythology based, but I mean, it is loosely on some stuff for sure. Look what I just got. Hang on. I got a stack of these bad boys for like next to nothing. Oh, the smell of these things are so good. Michael Moorcock books. And here you go. This right here is the shit. And yeah. Oh, yeah. Elric of Melnibone. It's Melnibone. Melnbone. I never know how to pronounce it, but I'm going to read. I've been reading the comics and stuff, but I haven't read the books. I know there's audiobooks, but I wanted to, they're affordable. I love these little pulp. The covers are so dope. They're so good. So yeah, picked up a lot from a nice guy on eBay and helped out somebody who doesn't have a job right now and got some awesome books. Farscape or Expanse, which one is better? I've read 4 books of The Expanse and working on the 5th. I haven't seen the show, but I love Farscape. Which one is better? Ooh, that's Q. That is not a fair question. You've asked 2 very good, hard questions that I appreciate. I think that is apples and oranges. I think you're comparing apples and oranges. Now, then you would say, well, what do you like better? Apples and oranges. Well, obviously, I like apple juice more, but I like the fruit apple more. So I don't like apple juice. So I'd have to say apples. As it stands right now, God, you suck. The Expanse. But here's a caveat. It depends on how The Expanse ends. I would probably feel differently about Farscape if I had watched it when it originally aired. I had only recently got into Farscape. I mean, within the last 3 years. I had never watched it before that. People have been asking me forever. And it's brilliant, but it's really different. The Expanse, Farscape is a lot more fun. It's a lot more fun. But The Expanse is superior storytelling as far as story arcs so far. But I've read all the books. And the books go south, like bad for a couple of books, and then it rallies. So, but the show has skipped a lot of the bad from the books. Now, I know some people are book fanatical about The Expanse and think they're just the greatest thing ever. The first 5 books are great. Book 6 sucks. Book 7 sucks. Book 8 is pretty good, but there's a narrative decision in it that is just terrible. It's just terrible, and I know they regret it now because they're trying to undo it, but they can't. And you guys will know when you get there. But the show, I think, will fix all that. Now, the show it showed a couple signs. Like, one formula they went away with is they did a whole book in a season, and they hadn't done that in the beginning. And I wish they didn't do that. And it feels a little rushed. That's my only complaint. Plus, they released the show all at once, which was fucking stupid. It was fucking stupid. They gave up at free advertising they can't buy. I'm a champion of that show. There's a couple of us YouTubers who are champions of that show, which would have talked about it all the time and maybe gotten bigger channels to talk about it, like Red Letter Media, which I think they're thinking about now. And that will help the show. Yeah. Chill stream when. Thanks for you. And Mr. Gentleman for $2 says chill stream when. Thanks for all you and DC do. Thank you very much. And Doomcock thanks you too. Chill stream will be, it'll be at night and it'll be sometime this week. I'm guessing, well, I can't say it will be at night. Thursday morning. We'll do Thursday morning chill stream. How's that sound? The Fixer 1 for £2. When are you getting Dan Fraga on Friday Night Tights? When he asks, I don't know. I'll ask him. Right now I only book Friday Night Tights out like a week out. I'm going to start. I mean, that's all I can do right now. But we can get Dan on if Dan wants to come on. Let's say I'll shoot for within a month. How does that sound? Is that fair? Is that fair? The Fixer. I like Dan. Dan's cool. His book is freaking awesome looking. So, I'm definitely going to back it. But I do it 1 week at a time. And I do like Dan Fraga. He's funny and he's cool. And I think he does things the right way. We'll just say that, in my opinion. When you can go try Blue Moon flavor ice cream, I will. Ironcaster. That sounds good. That sounds good. Alrighty. So we're almost at 3 hours. I got to go make a video. It'll be out for tomorrow. Hopefully it'll be out by tomorrow. And work on Star Trek Picard. Thank you to everyone who has super chatted. Thank you to all. I can't tell how many people watched or liked. That is still broken. Hang on. I'm going to hit refresh and see if it doesn't jack anything up. Yeah, I have no idea how many people were watching it. So we got 1,300 viewers. We got 1,000 likes. So that's cool and awesome. And I don't know if I was ghosted or not. And we are at, thank you again for 1,000 likes. That's awesome. We're going to wrap it up right there. Everybody have a great day. Please like, share, and subscribe. Thank you to the Nerdrotics. I appreciate you, and I will see you next. It'll be tomorrow for Nerdrotic Nooner at noon. Until then, be as good to each other as you can. Have a good day. And, well, which one do I want to end with? Oh, may the wings of liberty never lose a feather. Ciao.